As soon as I saw the trailer for the American Society of the Magical Negroes, I knew that I was got in for a good time. I kept seeing the trailer over and over every time I went to the movie theaters. I knew this was going to be a disaster. I knew it wasn't going to be executed in a way that made it poignant or satirical, that it was going to be something that could be very impactful and also funny. The way the trailer was put together, at first I was very like, oh, what the hell? And then I saw there was a love story there, and I was like, they're going to sacrifice what could be a really great movie for the love story. And not only did they do that, but the movie is so insulting on so many levels. Not only if you're a black person, just in general, if you have any kind of self-awareness or woke to anything that's going on in society. Those conversations that this thing starts and the way they drag them out is not good at all. And this is a movie that I am rooting against. And I never root against movies because I want people to get paid for the hard work they do. But this is just something that I don't understand how it got greenlit at all. Let me talk about the first issue that I have with this film after I talk about what's about. So Justice Smith plays Aaron, a young man gets recruited into Society of the Magical Negroes, people who dedicate their lives to making white people's lives easier. Although initially enamored with his new powers, he begins to question the value of using supernatural means to do the very thing he's felt obligated to do his whole life. So the magical Negro trope has been around for ages. We've seen so many different type of characters, and to even define that, I don't even need to tell you, because the writer and director of this film defined it in an interview and talked about why he wanted to make this movie.
The magical Negro trope, and just to define that, it's a pretty film literate audience, but I like to sort of say it in my own terms anyway. I think of the magical Negro as a black supporting character who doesn't have his or her own internal life. They're just there to support the white protagonist's journey. And the film is a critique of that. It's a satire, and it imagines that being a magical Negro is just a real job you can go get.
With that understanding, I felt like, oh, he should have understood what this trope is and how to explore it and kind of break it down, but he doesn't do that. He doubles down on the trope this whole movie. This movie is not more than what you think the trailer is. If you've seen the trailer, it's literally Justice Smith's character who is, for some reason, has some super social anxiety when he's around white people and is not able to function. It's almost crippling, and he gets this job where he gets to get a client that's white and make them feel good to protect other black people. That concept has a lot of potential, but unfortunately they focused on him just helping this one white dude who wasn't even interacting with a lot of black people in the first place, and just having a relationship with him and trying to make sure he felt good about himself, which is already problematic in its own. But then the main issue with the film, and this is in the trailer, is that there's a girl that they kind of have this workplace rom-com situation with, which could have been just a movie on its own, and I would have liked to see that by itself without the magical Negro erase parts of it. But it's hampered down because this movie's trying to do too many things at one time. At one moment, this could have been a really cool black witch and warlock kind of film where black people help other black people in white spaces, because that's been a topic a long time, like how sometimes we don't know how to navigate white spaces, is what this main character was having an issue, and it could have helped with his character growth. Does not do that. This movie could have been a really cool rom-com workplace movie where this guy who has all this social anxiety ends up finding someone that sees him for who he is, and he has to compete with this douchebag. We've seen those kind of stories tons of times, and I think that part could have been executed really well if that was the focus. But unfortunately, it's competing with this satirical movie that they're trying to do, the attack of this trope. And then when it comes to the messages of the film overall, it's a complete mess. This guy did not know what he was doing. In the interview, he talked about how that this was supposed to reflect his experience navigating social interactions with white people.
Also, for me, a way to explore some of the defense mechanisms that I was taught about how to respond to racism and how to respond to white people and keep myself safe in America.
The problem is they never go deeper than that. The character is as shallow as the magical Negro trope is. We never get to experience what his home life was before, why he ended up like this, who was teaching him these things. It's just him interacting with these white people, sometimes going back to the magical Negro place and and just trying to make the white guy feel great. And I think that kind of message is the worst kind of message that you're trying to give, because this movie is not made for black people to enjoy. This is not made to teach a lesson to people who may be ignorant, because obviously if they're racist, this is not going to teach them anything. They're just going to be how a lot of people are on the internet and screaming out, we're tired of woke. You know, the thumbnail warriors, they have tons of thumbnails everywhere. But what this movie is doing is helping white liberal people feel comfortable with themselves and happy that they're not this guy. Because this guy over here, or over here, wherever I could put the picture, is the example of someone that everyone is running to. That white guy that you work with that everyone hates. Not just the black people, the white people, the Asian people, the Middle Eastern people, because he's just a privileged, self-absorbed douchebag, right? And he's a character that's made where he's not so racist where it's like, oh God, he's like a passive-aggressive racist, where any white person watching this movie could be like, well, I'm not that guy, so this is not talking about me. And that's what they did. And the movie just really just pissed me off throughout, because the messaging through it was, we have to decrease our life expectancy by just making other white people throughout the world, throughout the United States, actually happy, and making sure they don't get too pissed off, and never addressing the reasons why that would need to be helped or happen. No one's ever questions it. Even the main character kind of questions in the beginning, but just falls right in line. And I didn't understand what the motivation behind this, or what this was supposed to be telling me, because when you do a satire, it's supposed to be intellectual in a way and not just in your face. They kind of make fun of some magical Negro tropes in the beginning, like the Green Mile and other characters that we've seen through history. I can even think of like Damsel on Netflix with Millie Bobby Brown. Unfortunately, Angela Bassett was basically the magical Negro there. She was there just to support all the white characters. Or even like, you know, I know she just won an Oscar, but Divine Joy Randolph, a little bit, you know, she got to do a little bit more than be the magical Negro in that film, but she kind of played on that trope as well. So even with recent films and things like that, it's been happening. He never explores it past that. Is just him doing that and then risking, because all the magical powers are dependent on, and this is also in the trailer, so I'm not spoiling anything, dependent on if all the white people are happy in the United States. That's the only way we get powers. I don't understand how a production company looked at this script and thought it was great. I don't understand how this black man wrote this and directed this and didn't understand that there needs to be a counterbalance of someone saying, no, this is not the way, because this is supposed to be protecting us from slavery, when that's also not true. You're erasing all the opposition, all the people who weren't trying to make white people safe and feel okay. Rosa Parks, Malcolm X, all these different people who did the exact opposite, and the combination of the peaceful Martin Luther Kings and then the ones that were like Fred Hampton and Malcolm X. So this movie is just really insulting to me on as a personal level, as a black man. It's insulting to me as someone that loves comedies, loves satirical comedies that can take a subject and really teach you something about it, but be funny about it as well. It doesn't do that as well at all, and it insults me in a way because this movie had a lot of potential and could have been done so many different ways, but they chose the laziest, most insulting way, most shameful way possible to do this film. And I like Justice Smith as an actor. Everything I've seen him in before this, I actually really like him in. David Alan Grier, who's my favorite character in the movie because he has the most funniest parts. That's the most frustrating thing too. You will laugh in this movie, and a lot of people won't understand the problems with the film and will end up going, this was fun, because there are a lot of laugh out moments in the film, but they're just spread throughout, and the actual story that's going on and actual satiricalness is just more insulting. There's Dale Allen Greer's character says a lot of funny things when in terms of like how he interacts with white people in the film and how he describes their anger and discomfort. It's hilarious a lot of times. And some of the other stuff that they had the characters was funny throughout, but it can't overshadow how bad the script for this is, because at the end of the film, and I'm not gonna spoil anything, they try to have this moment that is just totally unearned. It's totally unearned. It doesn't there's no points in the film where I was like, okay, it makes sense how this character got here. They didn't show that at all, and I just thought that this was just a missed opportunity. We could have had a very interesting workplace comedy here, that had no race issues with it, or we could have had like a wizard magical thing where there's a secret society that's helping black people navigate white spaces. We could have done so many different things with this script, and they just decided to do whatever this bullshit was. So with that said, I'm gonna give the American Society of Magical Negroes a D. Did you like it? Did you hate it? What would you rate American Society of Magical Negroes? How did you feel about the film? If you saw it, did you like it? Did you hate it? Let me know in the comments down below. Honestly, I usually say, you know, based on my review, are you gonna go check it out? Obviously, guys, do not check this movie out. I don't want to get supported because I don't want studios getting a wrong idea, thinking that this is the type of movie that people like me want to see, because this is not it. This is not it at all. If you like my review, hit that like button and attack that subscribe button. Hit the notification bell for notified reviews, reactions, live discussions, and much, much more. You can watch more content right now.